40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Friday Superspeedway Truck Series here on Green White Checker TV. We've got 75 action-packed laps in store for the 6th week of the season here at Talladega Superspeedway, the 2.66-mile oval with plenty of room to pass and a lot of room for action. Drivers have already completed qualifying. Running a few minutes behind here and apologize for that. So we're actually going to jump right into the grid with that and show you here. Well, let's get the race information out of the way first. Show you our grid here, starting with the front. Here we go. Front row is going to actually be Robert Rock and Austin McCarthy. And drivers are taken to their cars already. So Robert Rock grabs the pole, having a really good season so far. We'll bring the points up. He's currently second in those standings. Austin McCarthy in that number 99. Wow, it was less than 1,000th of a second behind Robert Rock and has to settle for outside pole. Cody Nagel's 2,000ths behind there in third place in that number 16 for Nightmare Esports. Everett Lane side by side with him. He's going to be 5,000ths behind our leader in that number 24 Chevrolet to the outside for Team Bootnaka Esports. Tom Dixon rounds up the top 5, and then you've got Vicente Guerrero alongside of him. That's going to be your third row of that grid tonight. And we've got Bob Fitzgerald and Jack Walls side by side for row number 4 in the 08 and 83 respectively. Row number 10 is going to be Dean Wilkinson on the inside of Eric Laurie in the 071. Doug Webb starting 11th with Bud Steele to his outside, a Bootnaka and a Roswell Motorsports driver side by side. And the later portion of the grid here, Justin Davis and Philip Bridgman are going to be in the 13th and 14th starting positions, and Philip being the first to not take a qualifying time. Then we're going to go to Paul Turner And the number 5, he's going to be in 15th. To his outside is Green White Checker TV's own Guile Brooks, and behind him is also Green White Checker TV's own Brandon Briggs. And we are getting ready for, again, those 75 laps here tonight. So with Gael and Brandon in the booth, it's just me for tonight, Boomer Logan. Looking forward to bringing you guys all of this action here and all the fun that we should have together, and get a chance to watch these trucks do battle here at Talladega. See if we can squeeze in a quick points update for you here before we get to that green flag. That is maybe the schedule, so we'll try and change that and see if we can get the right graphic updated for you. Running out of talent here by myself, I guess, but you know, that happens sometimes. But yeah, we're getting ready to go here, and might not be able to pull up that points graphic, but we'll at least talk through it as we go, just so you have an update of it here. But that pace car is going to be ready to dive onto pit road and get ready for that green flag. Robert Rock is going to be the one in control for this initial start, and we are just about ready to get through the tri-oval here and get to racing. There it is, green flag in the air for Robert Rock. Austin McCarthy to his outside, 2x2. They're going to send it off into turn number 1 for the first of 75 laps here tonight in Friday's main event. Two by two, they stay through turns 1 and 2. Pretty organized to start here. No real movement whatsoever. Actually, only Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson, and Guile Brooks and Paul Turner have changed positions. Now it's been a few more here as we see Robert Rock's actually going to jump to that high side, take over that position ahead of McCarthy there and Lane. Then he's got Vicente Guerrero behind him and Jack Walls. It's the top 5, or the first 5, I should say, in your outside lane. The inside lane is going to be led by Cody Nagels at the moment here, and he is about 4 or 5 trucks behind that outside lane, starting to form early and forming up pretty strongly here, getting into lap number 2 already. Going through the points, we've got obviously quite a few drivers here. Up at the top, Cody Nagels has had a really great season so far. He's going to be first in points with 182. Robert Rock there having a really good season, as we've mentioned. He is in second place with 155. Vicente Guerrero, 147, sitting there in the podium position. Last podium slot in the points for now. Dean Wilkinson with a pair of wins. Actually, Vicente and Dean Wilkinson, a pair of wins for each of them. And Dean in fourth place with 134 points. Beats the tiebreaker for Everett Lane in fifth at also 134 points. Doug Webb just 2 back in the 6th place. Austin McCarthy another 2 back for 130 points in 7th, as he's currently 2nd in the field tonight. We've got Bud Steele on number 6. Ford, he has 127 points back in 8th place. Paul Turner also has 127 points and is tied. There's no tiebreaker there for now. He is in 8th as well. And then we got Tom Dixon, 126 points there in 10th. And we are working on lap number 3 already. Robert Rock, Austin McCarthy, and Lane have started to definitely lead a train on this outside here. This is something I think we've seen quite a bit this season. It's definitely, we've talked about it where it's kind of unique. You could see a train like this happen in the real world, in real racing. Well, this is obviously still a form of racing, albeit through the computer, but in, not virtual world, but in actual NASCAR, we saw where, drivers could kind of train on the top, and it'd be really hard for that inside lane to get going here. You have to go back all the way to, it looks like Tom Dixon and Bob Fitzgerald are actually the 2 pretty much the lone drivers in that inside lane. Guile Brooks and the 5 of Paul Turner also in that inside lane a little bit further on back, but pretty much everybody here in the outside lane to start. And Robert Rock led us from the pole. He jumped up ahead of that 99 of Austin McCarthy, and that's most of what's happened at the front. Everett Lane is up 1 position, Vicente Guerrero is up 2, Jack Wall's up 3, Eric Laurie up 4. You'll go back further to find more higher climbers, including Philip Bridgman up 5 spots, Brandon Briggs up 7, and then obviously Cody Nagels is down 9 as he elected to jump out of the pack early on. And just kind of ride around in the back for a little bit here. So his teammate Vicente Guerrero in that 14 is going to hang out towards the front. And so far, so good. Rocking the top line as we see maybe a third lane starting to form a little bit further on back. And it looks like the 16's getting a good push to, I think that is at the 39 of Brandon. It is the 39 of Brandon Briggs. So he's going to come to the middle here, and we've got a little bit of 3-wide action here further on back. Bud Steele is the first car in the outside lane, getting the push from Brandon Briggs. And that, yes, that's Justin Davis there in the outside. Philip Bridgman now fills the gap in the middle as we get a little more segmented, and that inside lane starting to form a little bit better there. The 16 drops to the bottom. The 83 says, hey, I know that this 14 is going to drop down too, so I'm going to go with these guys and try and make a move, as the 16 says, no thank you, I'm going to try and get to the rear bumper of my teammate in that 14. And the 16 is going to continue to move on forward. Eric Laurie just ahead of him, the 24 of Everett Lane, and then McCarthy and Rock all the way up to the front of the pack, as now the 16 finds himself in front of his teammate. Still about a 6-car breakaway all the way back to Philip Bridgman in the outside lane. Robert Rock still leading. Has led, I believe, every lap of this race so far. You get a bonus point for leading the most, so he's helping his championship status in the standings by getting a bonus point for leading 1 lap and starting to early set his name in the hat for the most laps led. Albeit fairly early, but still, if he can lead this lap, that'll be about 10% of the race led from the front here. And about halfway through a fuel run from what we're reporting on pit road. Here in about 14 to 15 laps, full send in without the draft, so that would be really what Robert Rock is going to be looking at for fuel strategy. So 14-15 laps for him. We might see a little bit of savings further on back with some of the drivers in the draft, though, that could go maybe a couple extra laps, maybe 1 or 2. If they can stretch it to 15, obviously that kind of cuts 75 pretty evenly, cuts it into exactly 5 stints and 4 pit stops, but obviously that would mean, well, I would assume that we go green the whole way. So far through 7 laps, though, it's Robert Rock leading the way. McCarthy is completely content to stay in that 2nd position. So is Everett Lane in 3rd, Eric Laurie, and now Dean Wilkinson up to that 5th spot. And Philip Bridgman in 6th. Tom Dixon is still in the inside lane, so the first car in the outside lane is that 6 of Bud Steele, getting a push from the 39 of Brandon Briggs, and the 10 is still working with those guys there as we go a little 3 wide here for just a second, as the 5 is on the bottom of the speedway. And I guess it's something interesting to note that the 171, the 99, the 24, they're really holding that middle lane. They're not really holding the very high lane like we've seen in the past in Super Speedway racing. And curious to see if this outside lane has a chance to start moving forward. You see some good momentum back here from Bud Steele with that push from Brandon Briggs. They're trying to move forward, but so far they're only able to get up to the side of the 7, who is in 6th place tonight. And the 6 is in 7th place, and we're not going to make a dumb joke about that. So Robert Rock continuing to lead here. Lap number 9 of 75. Highest climber at the moment is going to be Philip Bridgman in that 7 truck. Brandon Briggs also is up 8 spots in the 9th position. That outside lane there starting to lose a little bit of momentum. See if they can mount a charge, or if they'll elect to get down and organized for incoming pit stops here. Everybody in the pack, all 17 trucks that have started this race, are all here together Paul Turner, Gael Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald among those that are hanging in the back, likely trying to save a little bit of fuel. I know that's definitely the MO of especially Gael, but some of the Roswell Motorsports own. They are definitely really good at employing those strategies to be the ones who have the most fuel at the end. And if anybody's going to be stuck having to pit in 14 laps, that could throw a wrench long term into this race, obviously, with maybe needing a splash of gas at the very end. But still a long way to go before we get there. Other thing to note is that you burn fuel the second you fire the truck up on pit road. So you do burn fuel during the entire pace lap as you come around, even though it is at pace speeds, so about 55 miles an hour, I believe, you're still burning fuel during that time. So typically your first stop is actually going to be your shortest stint. You might lose a lap or two compared to what you could go. Obviously, for Robert Rock in the lead, it's probably likely going to be, those 14 or 15 laps like we've mentioned. And we'll have to wait and see who else comes with him, because I would think that most of these drivers here have a chance to go a little bit longer than that, because no one's really been up in the lead other than Robert Rock. I know the 6 is working on leading that outside lane, so he may be burning a little more fuel than those around him. But they are fairly segmented here, as the 39 of Brandon Briggs is going to get down and organized for incoming pit stops here, and the 6 is going to try to go to the bottom there, and the 411 says, hey, I'm here. I'm going to keep this spot, and the 6 is going to have to find a hole further on back. We'll see if Brandon Briggs gives him a chance to get down, as they were working together, and that's going to be a no-go for them. And so the 6 is going to have to wait to find a friend to let him in, and it looks like it's going to come in the form of the 10 of Justin Davis. Those 3 are working on the outside lane there, so they know that those trucks are working pretty well together so far, and they're going to be lined up nose to tail as we get ready again for the green flag cycle here. Robert Rock continues to lead. Austin McCarthy, Everett Lane, and Eric Laurie, Dean Wilkinson. That top 5. Top 6 actually hasn't changed in quite a while. Working on lap number 13 at the moment. No takers this time by. We got a couple trucks that are looking to potentially stay out a little bit longer here. Some of the Bootnakas were fading towards the high side, and they get back down. The 16 of Nagels is now leading the outside lane. You've got Bridgman, the 714 of Doug Webb, the 14 of Vicente Guerrero, and Gael Brooks in that second lane. Likely indicative that they are willing to go at least one more lap than the rest of the field. We'll see how it pans out and see if anybody's coming this time by. Paul Turner has lost the back of the draft here, unfortunately, and is already slowing down a little bit without the help of those cars, or trucks, I should say, excuse me, in front of him. And we'll see here about a third of the field or so peeling off. Dean Wilkinson on the inside there and getting a little bit of a slide. That could be a penalty for Dean. Sorry for the delay there, a little bit of a headset issue, but Robert Rock comes down pit road, so does Austin McCarthy, Tom Dixon. Dean Wilkinson does not have a penalty, gets out no problem, so locked up the brakes in time to get that car settled down and not have any issues. He's going to get out no problem, as Everett Lane and the 071 are now going to be leading this pack. Cody Nagels, Philip Bridgman, and Brandon Briggs, and that's going to be everybody else coming down pit road this time by. And we'll see. Hopefully everyone can keep it pretty organized for a pretty big pack. 11 trucks coming down. I'd say that was pretty good. Pretty organized. 070 or 71's going to get to his pit stall, or get to the inside there. 7 gets in his stall first. 16 is going to have the furthest forward pit stall. And we'll see how they all roll out. Looks like right side tires or left side tires. 2 tires and fuel seems to be the pretty unanimous call for just about everybody here, as Everett Lane and Eric Laurie are going to get off first. And we'll see the lead pack of Austin McCarthy, Robert Rock, Dean Wilkinson, and the 411 of Tom Dixon with a good head of steam coming down the back straightaway. They might have a chance to break away just a little bit here if they can especially keep the 55 with them, which they can. That's going to put these 4 here in a good position. Everett Lane getting up to speed. He's going to have the 071, the 16, and the 14 with him, so a pair of Bootnaka and Nightmare Esports drivers. Go back to Brandon Briggs here, who should have no problems catching the back of that 14. So the 39. And the 7, the 83, the 71. And Bob Fitzgerald as well, who is currently losing time to Gael, but still within that magical 1 second, 1 second window where he should be able to catch up. And we'll see if that number starts to decline or not. At the moment, it is still growing and putting Bob Fitzgerald in danger of having to slide back to this group back here, which consists right now of Doug Webb, Bud Steele, and Justin Davis. And Paul Turner is going to come back off of pit road, also too far off the rear bumper of those drivers here. And we see now a pack of 4 is now a pack of 8 as we get all the way back to Vicente Guerrero up into this pack. The 24 is going to have a little bit of momentum, but he's going to elect to get in line behind the 411 of Tom Dixon and is not going to take that momentum any further forward for now. So that is an 8-car breakaway at the front of the field. Brandon Briggs is going to be leading that second line as we have a little bit of a jumbling up front. 99 and the 17 trade places, but the 55 and the 411 go through all the way to the lead. And the 16 and the 14 are going to come to the bottom and see what they can do to try and improve their position. We'll see at the line the previous lap. Dean Wilkinson ran about 0.3 of a second slower than Brandon Briggs. And we'll see what that looks like this time by. It's a 53 flat for Briggs and a 53.14 for Dean Wilkinson in the lead. And it looks like Brandon Briggs and Philip Bridgman are slowly catching this lead pack. This pack of 4 should have no problem within a lap or 2 getting up to the leaders here. So 4 became 8, became 12 in the lead pack all the way back to Gael Brooks here in that Ford F-150. So we've got 2 Toyotas in the field. We've got 1 in the top 3. We've got 3 Fords in the field, 1 in the top 3 as well. And then a lot of Chevys. So you see Tom Dixon in a Chevy in the lead there. And we have all the way back to 11th there. So first, then 4th through 11th for Chevrolets, and 15th, 16th, and 17th at the moment. And we've got a pretty good pack here forming up at the front. A little bit of 3-wide action here. Brandon Briggs has taken his Chevrolet all the way to the lead here with Philip Bridgman pushing. The 16 of Cody Nagels and the 14 of Vicente Guerrero are going to join them. Then we got the 24 and the 071 together. Further on back, Jack Walls and Gael Brooks. 2 teammates are lined up there. 411 of Tom Dixon and Dean Wilkinson. couple of TW Motorsports drivers there. And then we've got, again, Austin McCarthy and Robert Rock in this pack. Lap number 21 here. Brandon Briggs will get the bonus point for leading laps. Everett Lane is trying to see what he can do in the outside to try and take that away from that 39 truck. And I think he's going to do it. Lap led there for Everett Lane. So two of the Bootnakas are lined up nose to tail in that outside lane and giving a really good push as Eric Laurie down the back straightaway. Looks like they might have enough room to get clear of that 39 towards the end of the back straightaway here and jump down, but they're going to elect to stay up top, at least for now. And the way they do that, it kind of puts the 071 out to dry, and the 24 elects to come down. There was a hole at one point, but that's going to bring the 39. He's going to flip-flop, and he's going to try and get a push from the 071 to try and do the same thing so he can retake the lead back. Lane is going to get this lap led. That's 2 for him on the night. And your top 12 in this lead pack here. We'll go back another 3.8 seconds to find the 6 of Bud Steele. He's working with Justin Davis, and the 714 of Doug Webb, as well as Bob Fitzgerald. Paul Turner is about 16 seconds off the rear bumper of the 08 after losing the draft before the first green flag pit cycle. And now the 7 of Bridgman trying to lead this race. The 24 jumps up ahead of the 39 of Briggs. And the 7 gets his bonus point for leading a lap. Seven, 16, 14, 83 in the inside lane, the 24, the 39 and the 071 in the outside lane. Going to come around the stripe to start the 25th lap of the race, which will be the 1/3 mark here of the scheduled distance of 75 laps, excuse me. So it's interesting to see the drivers that pit first included Robert Rock, who led most of that first segment there before green flag pit stops. They are a little bit further on back, so that was including Dean Wilkinson and Austin McCarthy, Tom Dixon as well. So those 4 came in on lap 14, everybody else coming in on lap 15 for the most part, and they are mixed up in this lead pack here. Trying to save a little bit more fuel, it looks like. Try to make sure they can get that 15 lap mark for that second stint and make sure they don't have to get another pit stop at the very end. Obviously, with being able to go about 14 to 15 laps or so at the front of a pack, that puts you pretty close to that window of having to pit 4 times. And if you did have to come back down for one more pit stop, that is going to be quite detrimental. Not too much action at the front, but a little bit of shuffling here as the 7 now still leads, but the 16 and the 14 find themselves behind. The 24 and the 071 are in the outside lane, and Brandon Briggs actually gets shuffled out of the draft of this pack here. Missed exactly what happened there. But he is going to go high and let this pack behind him go by. And he will catch up to Bud Steele and the others in that group, including Justin Davis, Doug Webb, and Bob Fitzgerald. Philip Bridgman, again, still leading. He's going to, looks like for the most part, unchallenged, is going to have most of the lead for this second stint here after the first set of green flag pit stops. And everybody pitting on lap 14 or 15. So we got a couple laps more before we have to do it all over again. Down the back straightaway they go. 24 and 071 still committed to the high line. Everybody else in the inside lane as Paul Turner is going to have to come down pit road this time by. And that is definitely one of the struggles of being out without drafting help, having to run full throttle, and having to be one of the very first ones to come down pit road, as everyone's going to be able to stretch at least one, if not two more laps than the 5 was able to. So I think the hope for Paul is really going to be to get into the lead pack by going a lap down. I think that's going to help him more, just to be able to keep up to that pack and not have to keep wasting all that fuel on his own without any drafting help. And looks like the 24 is going to find a hole in the inside lane. And so is Eric Laurie here, just ahead of Jack Walls. And we'll see. These guys are coming down pit road this time by. Man, Dean Wilkinson with a very late break entry. Oh, the 411. Exit stage right. And he winds up in the grass. That was very odd. But that's Austin McCarthy, Robert Rock, Everett Lane, Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, Doug Webb among those in this time. And we'll see if we can go back to the 411 and understand exactly what happens here. Okay, yep, he was already sliding, and yeah, okay, that makes more sense now. So he lost a little bit of control there and started to slide the outside over, corrected. Thankfully was able to get it locked up, but I think that's going to be an unsafe, yep, it's going to be an unsafe pit entry penalty for that 411. And we'll jump back live, and I'll show you a couple more coming on pit road, including the 71 having to lock up those brakes. But Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero, Jack Walls, Philip Bridgman, Kyle Brooks, Brandon Briggs, Bud Steele, Justin Davis in this time. Austin McCarthy, along with Dean Wilkinson, Everett Lane, Robert Rock, Eric Laurie, getting up to speed here. And Eric Laurie is in about a half second here and gaining. So he will have no problem latching onto the back of this pack here. Then we've got Doug Webb about 5 seconds behind. As we see others coming off of pit road, Cody Nagels and the 14 of Vicente Guerrero are going to lead that charge, as Austin McCarthy and the rest of the pack is going to have a full head of steam down the back straightaway. And we'll see where they blend. But it looks like top 10 at least should be able to hang on to this lead pack here. And the 99 and 55 24 group have no troubles getting around the 16 and the 14, who are still getting up to speed. Jack Walls is about 1.2 seconds back, and that gap is unfortunately growing. So we may actually have a split group here, and as I say that, that number actually starts to decline as they are a little more double file in front of them. That does help. And obviously now that the 99 is a little slow at the back of the pack here, that should help reel Jack Walls in no problem, and so we will have that top 10 in that pack here. We're going to have to go back another about 5 seconds or so to find Brandon Briggs. He has backed up to the group of Bud Steele and Justin Davis. Doug Webb has fallen off of this pack, and Bob Fitzgerald also having some issues, as he is now about 8.5 seconds behind Doug Webb. Paul Turner still on an island by himself, and then Tom Dixon, who you just saw go a lap down, and he is due to his unsafe pit entry, locking up the brakes there and getting a little slideways, going through the grass. Does help him. Now he will be the first car one lap down, and he's in the draft, which also helps him save a little bit of fuel. And Everett Lane is going to take his turn at leading this draft pack, with Robert Rock, Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero, and Dean Wilkinson in the top 5, single file for our leaders here, all the way back to 10th place.
Yeah, 10th place is doing really well.
How is 10th place in the booth right now?
it was very stressful because I don't know if you're able to catch it, but there was a bit of a checkup right before the pits, and then I lost the draft. So I was trying to hustle back up there, and so my only chance was to full send pit entry, and I did, and luckily was able to not speed and catch Phillip, and then catch Jack, and then catch these guys. So yeah, it's been very strategic, I think, is the description for tonight, Boomer, because fuel's tight. It's pretty much 15, 16 laps, and so you've seen TW as the first ones in, but they're doing really well, and when they come out, we have to make sure we don't lose them. So and I think right now we're trying to get that kind of the fuel advantage is kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. And I think, I'm not sure, I want to say, did the boot knockers go in with them last time as well?
Yeah, they would have been in. Well, I don't know if that's insider information to help you in the car or not, but no. Yeah, so they pit on the boot knockers pit on lap 29. Yeah, they both pit on 29, so they would have been in with the TW guys. Yep.
So that makes me nervous on the fuel side for them too. Now is something I was thinking was like, I want to make sure I can get to at least 30 or 31. I could have actually gone at least, I think, one more lap, but Jack and I were talking. Of course, I wound up losing the draft. And so Jack and I were talking, and basically we decided, like, hey, if they go, we got to go. It's too risky. So kind of went with that. And so now it looks like Jack wants to go, and Philip's going to follow. So I'll join the party.
Sounds like a plan. That's a fun live interview. I'm more impressed that you were able to flip through the Discord channels without crashing, because I don't think I'd be able to do that.
The only reason I did it is because I was in the back of the main pack, and I was like, all right, if something happens, I mess up, I'm gonna only mess up myself, so I'm okay with it. So,
well, now that I
know, might have to check. Yep, I was gonna say something happened.
Yellow flag.
All right, I'll let you do your job.
All right, thanks, man. That was a fun impromptu interview, though. All right, so we'll try to find that yellow flag here. It looks like Brandon Briggs potentially involved. And he has actually taken the tow back to pit road. And here we go. Coming back to it here. So, yeah, the 39 just getting a little squirrely off of the push of the 10. And we're going to see them make a little bit of contact here. And, okay, this is more what I was expecting with Brandon taking the tow. Had a feeling it was potentially a blown motor, and that's exactly what that kind of looks like there. Unfortunately, if you do blow that motor, you can't drive it back to pit road, so iRacing tries to be as realistic as possible, and the worst part about it is Brandon would have to take the tow from the point of where he is on the track all the way around the back straightaway and all the way to the pits. So even though it's not a physical tow, they still simulate that. And the further you are from pit entry, the longer it's going to take to get back, and unfortunately he's at pit out. So that's going to be a very long tow for the 39 of Brandon Briggs. And just get a little squirrely there, trying to do everything that they can to catch back up, unfortunately. And we have our first caution of the night. And we'll see if that helps a few. I think that's going to help Paul Turner especially get back onto the same fuel strategy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he is our lucky dog candidate as well. So the 5 truck is going to be should be getting a lap back here. As, yep, he has already been waved around the pace car and is catching up to the field. So that is a huge break for the 5 of Turner. Brandon Briggs still getting his tow back to pit road as the rest of the leaders are going to head down pit road now. Ethan Lane, your race leader, Robert Rock, Cody Nagels, Vicente Guerrero, Jack Walls, and everybody kind of come down pit road this time by. Tom Dixon is the lone driver to stay out. I think this might be a potential gamble for him to try and get his lap back and get a free wave around. Yep, he'll get that lap back after that pit road entry issue. And as they roll off of pit road, it's going to be Vicente Guerrero, Everett Lane, Jack Walls, Eric Laurie. We've got Cody Nagels coming up pits now. Their first 4 there taking right sides and fuel. And Cody Nagels taking 4 tires and fuel, and everybody behind him doing the same. Philip Bridgman, Dean Wilkinson, Gael, McCarthy, Steele, Fitzgerald, Webb, Davis, all with 4 tires and fuel. Robert Rock spent a little more time in his pit stall at 27 seconds. Paul Turner is spending more time in his pit stall as well, potentially repairing some damage. And obviously Tom Dixon's going to get his pit road service here after getting the wave around. So that's interesting. Typically, if you're going to wave around, you're not going to be able to pit. So this might be an additional penalty for the 411. I'm not sure. You saw the red lights at the end of pit road being closed, but we will sort it out here because obviously with the opportunity of a caution brings opportunity for some shout-outs to some of our wonderful partners here at Area 51. And we'll be right back after this quick message break.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
Appreciate 4D Racewear, Jim Herrick and all the group there for all the support they've given to Area 51. A lot of those guys running on the Tuesday IndyCar series, but still showing their love and support for all of the action here at Area 51. So thank you to them and their continued support of the league. They've been around for quite some time now, and appreciate all that they do here. Everett Lane is going to come off of pit road, as we mentioned, with that race lead. couple drivers are going to come back down pit road for some additional service, a little bit of top off of fuel. That'll include Cody Nagels, Philip Bridgman, Dean Wilkinson, Guy L. Brooks, Austin McCarthy, Bob Fitzgerald, Vicente Guerrero, Robert Rock. Tom Dixon is back on the lead lap, so they must have given him a wave around and then allowed him to pit. That's the only way I could see where he wouldn't have a penalty here, but it's possible he still has a penalty and may need to serve it under green. Typically, if you wave around the pace car, you're not also allowed to pit unless an admin was giving him the command to go around. But it's going to put Justin Davis and Paul Turner, I think, on the lead lap as well. So we've got 16 trucks on the lead lap, and we are rolling through the tri-oval with the pace car back onto pit road. And green flag is back in the air. And Brandon Briggs is also going to rejoin this pack, so he'll be 2 laps down. Thankfully, he was able to get that fast repair. It took about 5 minutes for him to get back to pit road, just from where he was on track. But he is still in the mix here, in last place at the moment, but still plenty of time to get back up through the field. Try to get a lap back, try to get 2 back, and then get right back in this thing. Everett Lane, Eric Laurie for Team Bootnaka, trying to control the front of this pack. The 83 of Jack Wallace said, "Now I'm going to take my teammate Bud Steele, and we're going to control this pack," as the 71 of Guy L. Brooks is going to jump down to the bottom here. We'll see if he can get there in time, and he should have enough to line up to those 3. 16 truck takes a really great run to the outside with Philip Bridgman. It's just the 2 of them, though. See how far they can take that run. Right now, the 16 could be clear of the 24, but the inside and middle lanes are going to surge ahead into the turns 1 and 2, but the 16 has enough momentum to get ahead of the 24 there. And he'll be your new leader. Jack Wall still leading the inside lane. The 7 still leading the outside lane. He's falling back a little bit, though. And the 14 is going to drop down to the middle lane. It's going to be the 5 back there. And he's going to say, "Nah, I'm going to do the same. Sorry, buddy." And the 7's going to have to settle in for the last car in that outside lane at the moment. But it's the 16, the 24, the 071, and the 55. 24 and the 071, obviously teammates. See if they're going to make a move to the outside or inside at some point around the 16 of Nagels. Dean Wilkinson sitting there in the 4th position, having a really great season so far. He is the Oreo filling to Vicente Guerrero's cookies sandwich, as Vicente won on either side of Dean's back-to-back victories, which puts them as the only 2 to win 2 races this year. With this being race 6 of the season, the only one that would be able to do that would be Robert Rock. And he would be the 3rd 2-time winner, or we could see somebody else grab their 1st of the season, or perhaps a 3rd win for the 14 or the 55. As of right now, it's anybody's game, and we actually see Justin Davis and Brandon Briggs having to come down pit road here. Yeah, not entirely sure why that was the case. It shows, yeah, so it shows a last pit on lap 40 for 1 minute and 28. So I'm really not sure why. Must have been a penalty, I'm assuming, or a pass-through for the 10 and the 39. But they come down pit road. And as of right now, they're being scored as 2 and 4 laps down. So I'm kind of puzzled by what happened there, but we'll have to see if we can figure that out a little bit later. We got Seth Groover popping in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Friday night. Cody Nagels is definitely in a good spot right now, though he has yet to win a race here on Friday nights. Obviously doing pretty well for himself over in the Sunday series. So he has a good shot as he's going to take over the top lane with the 7 of Bridgman, the 24 and the 071, working in the middle now. And they've got a couple TW Motorsports drivers behind them in the 55, the 99, and the 08. On the outside, it's going to be the 16 for Nightmare Esports, the 7 of Philip Bridgman, and the 3 teammates from Roswell tonight, the 83, the 6, and the 71. Ooh, little slide draft there from the 24, a little tight to the outside wall. And the 7's going to make a move to the bottom. The 83 is going to go. And he's going to get there to the door of the 16. 16 is going to come back up to cover the 6 and get a push down the back straightaway. So that splits the Roswell Motorsports group up. And the Bootknockers are trying to take their way back through the middle potentially, as it looks like the inside lane's starting to lose a little bit of momentum there. And the 24 and the 071 trying to take it to the middle. But it seems like most of the momentum is towards the high side at the moment. 16 is free and clear, and the 71 all over the back bumper of the 6 with a really good push. And the 6 is going to get clear to the middle lane here. So the 16 of Nagels leads Brooks, Webb, Steele, and Guerrero at the moment. Doug Webb's going to come down to the middle here, get ahead of the 6 of Bud Steele. 16 is going to be ahead of him, working the outside and middle lanes at the moment, trying to stay ahead of both. The inside lane of Bridgman and Jack Walls has fizzled out just a little bit at the moment. But Jack all over the rear bumper of that 7, trying to do what he can to get that truck back up to the front. As the 16 and the 71 are clear of the 74 just about. And they should have a pretty good run down this back straightaway with the 14 of Vicente Guerrero giving a really good push to the back of the 71. And you can see almost 3 trucks there clear. They're going to stay up in that top lane, though, which has been a really great strategy for them in the past. But now in the bottom lane, all 3 Team Bootknockers in the race tonight have found each other. The 24 and the 071 have been linked up quite a bit, almost all night, honestly. And then Doug Webb found himself a little bit further on in the back of the pack. But he is up here now, and I think he actually gets that lap led. So that's 3 teammates nose to tail in the inside lane. 2 teammates in the middle lane for Nightmare Esports, the 16 and the 14. Behind them, it's the 2 Roswell Motorsports, the 6 and the 83. As the 71 is going to jump out of line without any help to the high side and settle in behind them. With the 5 of Turner in between, as the 16 and the 14 continue to lead that middle lane. The ticker has flipped over. We are now counting down 28 laps to go, which makes the math harder to remember what lap we're actually on, so we'll just use however many to go. But obviously, we pit last under caution on lap 37 and 38. So we've got probably a couple more laps before we get to pit stops. We're within the window to pit twice to the end. So I think that's going to help quite a bit. The way that caution fell just after that green flag pit cycle kind of eliminated the need to stretch a couple extra laps. Seth Gruber throwing down $10 on Bud Steele for tonight. That's a good bet. Honestly, Bud's definitely due for a win. In my heart, I want to put it on the 71 truck. Not just because he's my boss here at Green White Checker TV, but also because he's my boss here at Green White Checker TV. Yeah, so other than the issues for Davis, who's actually back down pit road again, and then Brandon Briggs, who I think is going to, be our first retiree of the night, and I think Justin Davis maybe as well. No, he is still sitting on pit road. But that should be Brandon out for the night, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a little rare that we do this, but let me try and bring up a mid-race broadcast, or we are broadcasting interview here, and we'll bring up the 39 of Brandon Briggs. Yeah, saw the early retirement here, Brandon, and hate to see that, but just wanted to check in and see what happened there for you. See if we got a copy with Brandon Briggs here. No copy from Brandon. Brandon, you got me?
Yeah, I got you now, buddy. What's up? I
Hey.
was wondering, I'm like, man, what is that noise? I got up to get a drink real quick, and I had no clue what that noise was. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah, no, we saw you retire early, and just wanted to check in and make sure everything's all right. I guess I don't know if this is an infield care center interview or not, but sorry to see you retiring so early.
Yeah, it stunk me and Justin. We was trying to help each other out and dropped back there with him, and then we ended up losing the pack there with Bud Still. Kind of sucked, so we was pushing super hard to get back up there, and nobody blew a motor. Just I need to learn how to hold a better straight line, and Justin was just pushing real good, and my rookie self lost it. But in the process of that, I had to take a tow for 5 minutes, and then Justin actually, I think we clipped the tail end of pit road when we wrecked, and that gave him a black flag, so he had to stop. So we said instead of messing up anybody else's night, we just need to hang up the wheel, and he had to get to a drive. He had a long drive ahead of him, so we just said let's call it a night, and we'll be watchers tonight.
Fair enough. Well, hate to see you out of the car so early, but I guess if you want to hang out in the booth, you're welcome to, or I can drop you back down in the team chat. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'm glad to. I'm you know me, I'm happy to be back up here with you, and I could just get you to share your screen for me. That'd be great.
Yes, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You are, and we can finish off the night with some great racing up there with those guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are lucky, to chat with Vicente and Cody. They popped down in our channel and was just teaching us some little things and just picking their brains a little bit before we backed out. But man, them dudes are two heck of a drivers. As we see Cody and them guys bring it to pit road now, as he's lost it there.
Yeah, man, that's on a ragged edge when they come down pit road like that, and it's always impressive to see. But yeah, the 5 comes in from the lead: Cody Nagels, Vicente, Bud Steele, Jack Walls, Tom Dixon in this time. And with 22 laps to go, that window to the end is wide open. Obviously, they're going to have to pit twice, but it's pretty much anything goes. Obviously, the way that last caution fell, obviously, unfortunately for you, Brandon, there. That kind of helped the fuel strategy where nobody really had to, cut it super close on fuel.
Yeah, and you're definitely. I think I heard Gael chime in. You're getting about 15, 16 laps. You can get a little bit more if you're back there saving. I'm not one of those type of guys that when I get in the truck, the throttle's down, we're trying to race. But this is a very slick pit road.
And you see
the 99 and the 714.
Yep, and the 7's going to get caught up, and that's going to be the 171 caught up as well. The 071 having to go in the grass. That is a lot of calamity on pit road that we do not usually see in this league.
Yeah, I don't know what the track temp was on tonight. I didn't get to see it, but it was a very slick pit road on that apron. I tried the second time when I came to pit road. I tapped the brakes a little bit too hard, and I was definitely checking up on the wheel. So I'm very slick entrance here.
So Dean Wilkinson is going to get off first. Looks like 2 tires and fuel for pretty much this whole group. Everett Lane, Robert Rock. You can take 2 tires without needing to slow down a pit stop. Obviously 4 tires is going to be quite a bit slower, but 8 seconds for a full can means you can take 2 tires without having to weight, as Paul Turner is going to have the lead of the first group of drivers that came down pit road, and a pretty good head of steam with a 16 and the 14 pushing him. And it looks like these are all going to be one group that should form back up together. We see the 83 and the 6 a little bit further on back. They might have... yeah, the gap is growing, and it's over 2 seconds now, so they're going to be a little bit further back, unfortunately, from this lead pack. And that'll be Paul Turner, Cody Nichols, Vicente Guerrero, Dean Wilkinson, Everett Lane, and man, Robert Rock had the contact on that last pit stop and able to recover very beautifully to come out with these guys. Gael Brooks in the back part of this pack. And we've got Jack Walls and Bud Steele together. Some teammates at least, which helps. They're going to make a switch here, it looks like. Bud Steele potentially getting hot, or they're just trying to swap back and forth to allow themselves to conserve some fuel. One driver not conserving fuel is going to be the 411 of Tom Dixon, but he should be able to fall back to the 99 and the 08. And now that I see it, it looks like the 08 was actually the one who made contact there on pit road after the 99 spun. The 7 involved as well. The 7-14, and then Eric Laurie getting a penalty for that as well. So Eric Laurie actually the only one with a penalty in all of that chaos, even though the 99 went around. The 08 had the contact. I think the 7 may have also gone around. So really the most unfortunate portion of that goes to Eric Laurie, as he was the only one to draw a penalty for that.
Yeah, tough break there for him, and man, this group up here, boy, they're still getting after it. And if I just peeked over at the YouTube chat, and Seth said, is Cody gonna win again? If I'm them fellas, maybe this is where you pull the little rope-a-dope. Maybe does that second group there, try to mix something up and say, let these guys stay out front, and we'll come together with them having a little bit of shorter numbers tonight. So I think business may have been a little bit exciting with the yellow earlier, but I think it's really about to pick up now. And I think whoever makes that decision to pull off and pit first I think that's who's going to win. From the truck, it seemed like whichever group tonight came down pit road first, they had that big head-on advantage, and having the more cars would definitely be better for them.
Yeah, we know after that second green flag cycle, like Alexi hopped in the broadcast booth under green to check in and say hi, but he had mentioned that the TW Motorsports group had been coming a lap early than everybody else, and he said it was pretty tough to hold on to that draft. Obviously, they had to do some work. You also had to do a little bit of work to get back up there, but able to do so pretty easily after that second pit stop, and Gael able to grab onto the back of that pack, but definitely seemed like pitting first has been one of the better strategies so far tonight.
Yeah, and I think the one big difference that we see from the guys that run Friday and Sunday is that the vehicles are two completely different vehicles. These things, when compared to Sunday, you get in one of those cars on Sunday, and you're getting into a rocket ship. They're fast. The car just seems like it's free. Like you gotta will it, and it's a lot of fun. You come back to these trucks, and it seems like it kind of pulls you back a little bit. You gotta come back more into like a strategy type of, strategize more, and it's a really, to me, maybe not for somebody, but a lot of drivers, but for me, it's a huge difference. How you time your runs, where you're gonna time your run, things like that is way dramatically different to me. Um, and I think that's where some of these guys, Cody, Seth bringing it up with his wins and stuff, all the different types of racing that he does at super speedways. I think that's where then that type of experience really comes to pay off when we bounce back and forth and move around cars here, which I do love at Area 51. I think it's a great thing, always switching it up and making the drivers, work and learn what they're working with. But I think that's where his experience comes into play here, Boom, where he can adapt quicker then maybe more other people just come to that experience that he has. So I think this right here is going to have Cody's going to have to put all his eggs in that basket. And him and Vicente are going to decide, hey, do we go early or do we run it all the way to the end and go when these guys go?
Yeah, that window is going to be opening very quickly here. 15 to go this time by, coming to 14. So probably guessing that nobody's going to be pitting this time. It'll be too close on fuel, and obviously they have plenty of fuel to go quite a bit further. Everybody pitting at lap 54, so 54 or 53, so 21 or 22 laps to the end. So I think we would expect to see everybody probably could go about another 8 laps or so. I guess that's the question now, Brandon, is you think that everybody would want to come in as early as possible, so would you come this time or the next time?
I mean, it really depends how your numbers sit. That's where I still think, even with all this going on, Cody and Vicente, they only have, I believe, 2 trucks in their group tonight, which normally you come to super speedways and you think, man, we're going to have to pit. That's a bad thing. We're going to pit by ourselves. We're going to have to be, all by ourselves. We're going to lose the draft. Here, Cody and Vicente are sitting there riding 4th and 5th and say, hey, those guys around us, we're saving a little more. They're burning up a little bit quicker, so we'll just react to what they do. And but if I'm them, I come immediately. Let's have a short pit stop. Let's get out of here. Let's surprise everybody, make a hard left, and see what we can do. Because as we've already seen tonight, you can't get on the brakes as quickly as you could maybe at Daytona, or you already got to slow down at Atlanta. Here with this apron, it's real slick. If you make that last second move, you can catch some guys off guard and they couldn't react.
Yeah, I think the other thing to highlight there that you mentioned is that there really aren't big groups here. I mean, there are no more than 2 teammates from any single team in this pack here. Obviously, the 171 and the 55 further towards the front for TW Motorsports. The 24 does have the 071. Obviously, he is still a lap down. The 14 and the 16 have each other. And then the 5 is in here. I don't see him in any of the group chats. So working on his lonesome for tonight. And then Roswell Motorsports is there, Mr. Guile Brooks. So really, it's going to be, where can you find your friends, and who, what teams are willing to pit together and kind of work that strategy. So they're going to stretch it a little longer than we were thinking. Curious to see who's going to come and when. And we see a couple more chiming in the chat. Mr. Gabe Butler himself. I just got a pack of, what was it, Irish pack at Costco with some Guinness, some Harp Lager, and some Smithwick Red Ale. That stuff is nectar of the gods. So have a Guinness to your name maybe later on tonight here. But appreciate you joining us. Obviously, Brandon jumping in the chat as well. So now he's up in the booth after starting the race tonight. So definitely get a little bit of best of both worlds. Getting a chance to see you behind the wheel, and really it just helps you fuel more of your broadcasting experience. So you can help us here in the booth, try to help our listeners and viewers understand what's happening behind the wheel of these trucks.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do. At first, when I first got up here, I was super nervous, but I've really enjoyed it. It's a really good time. It's really good racing. You and Gael have made it super easy. And while we're giving shout out to the broadcast, I want to give a shout out to them IndyCar boys. I know it's not here on GWC, but them fellas ran a race the other night, and I'm sitting here. I said, man, IndyCar race is on. Let me hop over there. Them fellas had 53 people watching that race. I just want to give them flowers for the work, they putting in, and, Matt and all those guys, they're putting in all they do. To hop in and see an OG Area 51 league race have 53 people watching it, I thought was pretty kick-ass. So
Yeah.
Shout out to the Tuesday League and those guys.
Yeah, P1 broadcasting, definitely very, very helpful to us. Taking a little off of our plate here for us at Green White Checker TV. Obviously, it's just down to Gael, Brandon, and myself these days. So 3 nights ends up being quite a bit. More so for Gael, and I always appreciate his help for all that he does he does a lot behind the scenes for the broadcasts. I know I joke about him being our boss here at Great White Checker TV, but he does a lot for us, and we appreciate him greatly, but also appreciate P1 and everything that they've been doing. Also for the 20th season of IndyCar racing here at Area 51 on Tuesday nights, so that's pretty cool to get to a milestone like that, and make sure, obviously, tune in for Tuesdays as well. We've got lots of action on the Super Speedway stuff for Fridays and Sundays here, still on Green White Checker TV here, but Tuesdays has a pretty cool show, and a lot of fun, a lot of good guys in there too. So
Yeah, it was awesome. I ain't even, I'm not gonna lie to you, Boom. I backed out the YouTube. I exited out. I pulled it back up, and I'm like, okay, this is these guys. It's just awesome to see our Area 51 drivers. You know, people getting to recognize them. And here we go. The first group is gonna bring it down. It's gonna be the three trucks right here: Paul Turner, Vicente Guerrero, and Cody Nagel.
and it's always so crazy to see how they get down to pit road speeds. And you could definitely tell that some of these guys are pushing the absolute envelope, and they know they need to, because the execution of Super Speedway pit road under green flag conditions is so critical. I mean, we've probably talked about it ad nauseum, probably annoyed all of our viewers about it, but it is just such a craft to keep that car under control. Obviously, we saw the issue earlier on for McCarthy and Fitzgerald involved in a spin coming down pit road. The penalty to the 071 of Eric Laurie, putting him a lap down for the unsafe pit entry, having to go off and into the grass. And 8 laps to go. We're going to see everybody else here is going to answer the call for pit road. A little slide for the 171.
As these guys are coming in, what I noticed is the if you pump, you can come in at a decent. You don't have to let off as soon as you hit the apron, but you gotta pump the brakes. If you just come in there and you lay the pedal, that brake pedal down, that truck is just gonna say, "Hang on, you're going the other way." So I think that's what you see, where you see it looks like them big, massive checkups is just for them guys just pumping the brakes. And if Cody Nagels and Vicente was gonna make that gap smaller from them having the smaller group, this was the way to do it and pit first. And these guys are coming through the trial hours. These guys are exiting pit road, so it's gonna be pretty close.
Yeah, it's definitely been an advantage to pit early, as we've seen, but the TWA Motorsports guys kind of flipped the script, and they're the ones who actually pit later this time. The 16, the 14, and the 5 go together, and then the 171, the 24, the 71, and the 55 come as a group. So you'll see the 16 and the 14 and the 5 have a good run down the back straightaway. They tuck back in, and we're going to see if they're going to fade to the top. They are going to try and take that run away and see if they can take it all the way to the front. But that is going to still be the same top 7 in the lead pack here. We'll go back to the field just briefly just to see where everybody else is at. Ooh, side by side for the 24 and the 171. Little contact, no harm, no foul. But back to Jack Walls and Bud Steele still working together. We've got Doug Webb, Austin McCarthy. Doug Webb's actually going to come down pit road this time, but Austin McCarthy and Bob Fitzgerald have already made their final stop. Tom Dixon further on back, no drafting help at the moment. Same for Philip Bridgman, and Eric Laurie actually falls out of the lead pack, so he's in danger of going 2 laps down here in the late stages.
Yeah, and Cody's been hot on Sundays, Friday. He's been the pusher. He's pushed a lot of these guys to the win, and pushing the 24. Like to see it. Not going to be for long, but you love to see them guys working together. And now I want to send a challenge to that 71. All right, he's been in the booth. He's running for a championship this year. What's that truck got? What that truck got, Boom? You think he's got it to maybe split that gap and give it a shot? That's who I'm picking. We're just a few laps left, 5 to go. Give me the money on the 71. But damn it, Gael, you better drive that thing.
Oh, trust me, I think everyone would be happy to see a podium for that number 71. He's got some work cut out for him, as There's a couple of TW Motorsports teammates there in the 171 and the 55 who's going to want to work together. And then obviously Cody Nagels and Vicente Guerrero at the front of this pack. They're working together now. They've got the 5 in between them and the TW Motorsports guys, and the 24 and 71 fall a little bit further back, but the 714 is going to join this pack. So who knows? That actually could be helpful for Everett Lane, as he's going to have another teammate in the mix here that he can actually draft with, similar to when the 071 was in the pack there. Gave him an extra advantage to have somebody who he knows will be there to support him. But Cody and Vicente, they're going to try and just ride it around the top here, and they're going to say, hey, you guys want it? Go take it. You got to go to the bottom, and you got to beat us. And it's been a pretty good strategy for their team so far this season on both Fridays and Sundays.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That wouldn't scare me. That wouldn't scare me. When I believe it was, I think it was the 7, blue and yellow truck, Philip Bridgman, I believe it was. When we hit the apron, or not the apron, the bottom, the low line, and we got to the front. We got there pretty easily. As these guys are running up there, if you can get that good run, maybe going into 1 or going into 3, come back, watch the races, listen to what they say in the interviews after the race, and like Cody said, I listened to them. These guys shouldn't have hug up here close to us, hit the bottom, go far away from us. So that's what I did. You got to get a run coming down this backstretch and then dip it down into that corner. But the guy behind you just can't lift. So I think if they're going to make the move, though, we're not going to see the move until up. Well, I guess they're going now, but you can't half it here, right? This is a bad run. It's going to slow your truck down. You're not going to get nowhere. It's going to take a little bit longer. You might catch a break. Them guys up here not pushing. Come towards the end, the 14, 16, they're going to be pushing. You got to have that good run of steam, make that move, and that's the only way you can do it. And these guys are going to have their hands full.
Gabe giving some advice in the chat. You got to back up and create that run. And that's what the 5 is trying to do here. He does have the 714 and the 24, trying to move forward and see what they can do to best these Nightmare Esports drivers in the top lane. 5's able to get even with the 14. It seems like the outside has the momentum typically down the back straightaway, and that is the case here, as just about the 14, well, the 14 and 5 about side by side coming through into 3 and 4. 2 laps to go, so they're going to have the white at the line. Does the inside lane have enough? There's more in the outside lane at the moment here. 5 not able to get any closer to the lead than the door of the 14.
Yeah, the 714 to me, boom, they're pushing too hard, right? They're too quick. These trucks heat up really, really quickly, in my opinion, once you're in the draft there, and I think that's why these guys, you got to let off. You see Cody and Vicente, they're still not even pushing up there. Everett and the 714 going to split the 5 here. This could actually be the best move here for these guys. Now there's nobody to help them up there. They're going to be side by side. That 24 is not going to lift the rest of the race if he wants that line to move. You cannot lift, boom. Even the corners, anything. If you want it to go, the guy on behind you has got to stay planted.
Man, and look at the 171, how connected to the rear bumper of the 24 he is. 14 and the 16 got a little disconnected through 1 and 2. Not sure if, like you said, that was by design or not, but it's going to try and be a 3-wide drag race to the line. Right now, the 14 is pushing the 16 with an advantage. To the tri-oval they go. 714 is a lap car, so it's going to be a pretty easy victory for Cody Nagels on the final lap.
Damn, I thought 714 was in the running.
No, he was one lap down.
Get a win there.
Yep.
Hey, shout out Cody Nagels and them boys. Woo. That kind of explains why they wasn't pushing so hard still there at the end. But hey, got the job done when it mattered. Cody's going to pick up his first win here on Friday night, and his teammate Vicente is going to follow, as those two guys and just that little group still managed to get the job done tonight. Boom.
Yeah, good run for Cody. That'll be his first win here on Friday nights. And we'll go through those race results here now as we are coming around to a little bit of celebration for the 16 and the 14. Top 2 tonight for both of them. Cody gets the first place prize for the first time again on Friday nights. Vicente Guerrero is going to settle for second after winning his second race last at week 5, which, if I remember now, was last week. Yeah, it was last week, and then obviously we had the week off before that. But Everett Lane had a pretty solid finish there in the third position. Fortunately, had another teammate in front of him, and but so he pushes technically Doug Webb, I guess, just about back to the lead lap. But a very great effort for the 24, especially for having Eric Laurie in his issues with the penalties on pit road and the 714 getting trapped a lap down early on. It's very valiant effort for Everett Lane to be able to stay up there. Paul Turner also independent there in the top 5. Very solid night for him tonight. And you've got two of the TW Motorsports, Robert Rock and Dean Wilkinson. They really had a good night all night long. Robert was up front leading laps during the first green flag cycle there. And Dean Wilkinson, both of those guys were pretty much in the mix pretty much all night long. So definitely still rewarded for their efforts with a top 5 and a top 10. And then boss man, Mr. Brooks, is going to be in that number 71 truck in that 7th position there for tonight. We saw Jack Walls and Bud Steele fall off of the lead towards the second to last green flag pit cycle. And unfortunately, by themselves, not enough momentum to catch up to the leaders, so they finished 8th and 9th respectively. Austin McCarthy went for a ride on pit road, was spun around at one point, and he recovers fairly nicely to only be 19 seconds off of the lead. And Tom Dixon there, we saw him without any drafting help towards the later stages after the last green flag cycle. We saw Doug Webb technically finish cross the line second, but obviously was a lap down, so he'll finish in that 12th position there. Philip Bridgman had a pretty decent run going to in the earlier stages of the night, and unfortunately going to have to settle for a one lap down finish in 13th place. Eric Laurie, we mentioned in that collision with all the spins that we saw during the green flag pit cycle, Eric Laurie was actually the only one to get a penalty because he was forced off into the grass and had to get an unsafe pit entry penalty, so had to come back down pit road, unfortunately, under green conditions. But Bob Fitzgerald there, actually, sorry, not under green conditions. Eric was just held in this pit box there. But definitely that did enough damage for him not to be able to recover. Bob Fitzgerald also involved in the incident, the wreck on pit road. He's going to finish 2 laps down, and then we've got Justin Davis and Brandon Briggs obviously bringing out that caution, the lone caution for tonight, and trying to do everything they can to catch up. So definitely don't blame you guys for the effort, for sure. Definitely is tough when you're that far behind trying to catch back up. So, but glad to at least, blessing in disguise, we got to have you in the booth for a little bit. So hopefully that makes up for it a little bit at least.
Yeah, just doing my part to make 17th cool again,
There
So,
you go.
with that being said, why don't we get to some of these podium finishers and go ahead and bring up Everett Lane in that 24 truck.
Yeah, let's do it here. So we got the number 24, Everett Lane, coming home in the 3rd position here after starting in the 4th position. Definitely a solid night for you tonight there, Everett. Yeah, take us through how you got to that 3rd place finish there.
Yeah, team had some good pitch stops tonight, and a couple of my boys got wrecked there on that one caution that we were all coming in, not caution, when we were coming in the pit, and they got spun out, so lost a couple teammates there. So just tried to make the best out of what I could, and try to stay up front most of the night. And I seen Doug down there. He was a lap down, unfortunately, but I still needed his help. So called him up to the top to get in front of me, and told him when to go down, and we went down, and I just pushed until I could get a top 3 position.
Yeah, heck of a run for you tonight there, Everett. And when you was coming into pit road, I mean, we seen it wasn't just that group. A couple of times we seen that tonight, and it to me it seemed it's definitely seemed slicker than normal. But You run these every Friday, so was that normal Talladega apron? Do you feel like, or was it a little bit more slippery to you?
Well, Talladega's a little bit more forgiving when you come into the pit road. You have a longer period of time where you could slow down and get it wound down to the speed limit. And I like sending it in there on Talladega, try to gain some positions on entry and on exit. And we kept the tires to a minimum tonight. We weren't taking tires as much. So I think the first two green flag pit stops we had, we didn't even take tires. I didn't even take tires on the yellow caution that we had. So just took lefts one time tonight. And yeah, it's a lot easier sending it into pit road here at Talladega than Daytona.
Yeah, we definitely saw some aggression on that front, and unfortunately, obviously, leading to the unsafe pit entry for Eric Laurie, putting him a lap down there, and obviously Doug trapped a lap down for quite a while. So when you guys, as the lead pack late in the race, obviously you caught the 714. Seemed like that was going to be a good opportunity for you, at least to have a little bit more help, just from the sole standpoint of, hey, you got a teammate that you know is going to go with you. Obviously, he came out ahead of you, and you guys really never had a chance to kind of flip flop that to put you ahead of him and give him a chance to push you. Was that something that you guys were trying to intend to do if you ever had the opportunity and it just didn't unfold, or was that not necessarily something that you were looking to do?
Yeah, we were talking about that, Boomer, figuring out some way to get him behind me, but we were running out of laps, and I don't think it was going to be possible. I told him if there was a way to do it, we'd do it, but we got so late there with the white flag coming out. I just told him, let's go down and I'll just try to push you as hard as I can to get whatever position I could get at the end because it's been pretty tough over here for me lately, getting top 5 finishes for that matter, even a top 3 or a top 10. Just been victim of circumstances sometimes, and just happy to get a third place finish tonight.
Yeah, definitely a hard fought third place and a good effort for you. Obviously, I know it's been a little bit since we've had a chance to talk to you. At least I know I have in the booth here. So good to hear from you up here in the podium placings once again. Gabe was watching, chiming in. He does say great job to you and congrats on that third place finish. So with that, we'll roll that red carpet out for you and give you any chances for thanks or shoutouts you'd like to have.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Gabe and wish him a happy birthday. He's out having a good time tonight. Captain is a super guy to have on your team, and Eric and Doug and Tom didn't make it tonight, but Boot Knockers, it's a fun group of guys to race with. I enjoy it racing with these guys, and I want to thank you guys up there in the broadcast booths for everything you guys do for the Area 51. It's fun racing over here, and just happy to get up there in the top 3.
Absolutely. Well, it was definitely a good effort for you there tonight, Everett. Glad to see you up in the top three once again, and hopefully we'll talking to you again very soon.
All right, Boomer. Brandon, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. All right, so we'll bring up the next interview, and that is going to be one who's been no stranger to interviews so far this season, and that is the 14 of Vicente Guerrero. Obviously, you guys got up there, you and Cody, working it out together, and another solid 1-2 finish for you guys. But enough of me talking. Let's hear it from your perspective behind the driver's seat there.
Yeah, it was pretty much Fudge take it easy tonight. I mean, we didn't really press the issue since we were just us two. And at first, man, it sure felt like it was going to be a fuel mileage race, and then there was a caution. So it kind of changed that strategy there. So it was just at the end there, just try to get track position and try to stay with leaders because we're outnumbered there, um, and then just stick together and not get separated because I think that hurts us more than anything. If we're not connected, we're hurting.
Yeah, and speaking of that, when I noticed the last 2 laps, you and Cody wasn't really pushing. Was that to me, it seemed like the temperatures got hotter quicker today than
Yeah,
normal. So
yeah,
was that the main reason for the layoff?
yeah. I mean, it was. I was just trying to manage temps. I didn't want to get my truck hot before then, and you do a lot of heat cycles on this engine and it could blow at any temp, like as far as, when it's barely hitting the red, it could just blow up. If you get enough cycles in that engine, it don't like it. Um, so I just wanted to make sure I had enough temps there at the end to just stick with him and give him a good push.
Definitely seemed like it worked out for you guys. You mentioned the fuel strategy kind of went to the wayside after the caution there, but I mean, it seemed like whoever was going to pit first on the green flag cycles was able to come out first, and obviously, quite a few drivers had quite a bit of time staying with that lead draft, especially with TW Motorsports coming down early in the green flag cycle, pretty much for the both first two green flag pit stops. Was that part of the decision that you guys made to be the first ones on pit road for your final pit stop?
Well, they were taking quite a bit of time coming to the end, and it was the last pit stop, so we did want to have, we didn't want to do more than like 5 laps, separation between them, within a couple laps at least, till they were probably have to pit. So we just made the decision that, it was close enough where we should just pit. So we pitted, and Paul Turner pitted with us, so that was a good thing. Um, and we had a good run off, and we caught them. And I think I don't I forget what happened there at the end, how we got the track position. I think we just put. Oh yeah, Paul Turner. I think we were pushing Paul Turner, or I forget who we were pushing, but we went out to the outside and we ended up somehow getting the lead there. And just stayed up front at the end.
Yeah, definitely worked your way towards the front there when it mattered most, and executed on that final pit stop and came home, brought that Vince service and repair, that beautiful black and white and green machine, to a second place
Yeah, I
finish
like
there.
that green. I
Yeah,
like that green.
this is a good color. Well, congratulations to you. We'll roll that red carpet out for you now for any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give for that second place finish tonight, Vicente.
Thank you, Boomer. Can't wait to watch this one back. I appreciate you guys broadcasting. I appreciate Area 51 for putting on this league, and all their fellow drivers and the admins that participate and take care of us. Um, I also want to thank my mom and dad. Miss you guys. They're out in Arizona, and hopefully soon we'll go see you guys. Also want to thank my wife for letting me do what I do here, and uh, like you said, event service and repair here on the truck. They did a hell of a job there in the shop putting on a good truck.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations to you. It's yet another 1-2 finish for Nightmare Esports, and yeah, good luck on Sundays as well. And hopefully we'll be talking to you again very soon.
Thank you, Boomer. We'll see you guys.
Alrighty, we got another one coming up here who is no stranger to interviews either, and that is going to be our race winner. Finally breaking through for the first time on Friday nights, Cody Nagels coming home with the victory here tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a drought on Fridays, and glad to close on one and be on the other end of a push. But I definitely owe Vince one back. Seems like me and him have been trading wins back and forth with each other between Fridays and Sundays. So I guess now I need to try to push him to the win on Sunday.
Yeah, you guys had a heck of a run. Just the whole I was sitting back as I got back in here and I was watching. You guys kept on. To me, I felt like he was gonna wait when you was running about fourth or fifth there, and I'm like, man, these guys are just gonna. Are they gonna wait because they got the small group, or are they gonna peel off? And did you make that decision? Like, hey, we can do this. Like, hey, I'm comfortable. Even if Paul didn't come, do you guys think coming in earlier you would have been strong enough to just do it by yourself?
Yeah, 100%. We were within 2 to 3 laps of the leaders for sure having to pit. I think they could have only went two more. Some of the guys in the back probably could have made it third, but you have to assume that they're going to pit with the leaders since a lot of them were running together and most of the pack was between TW and Bootknocker. So I told Vince, we need to stay on the offense and it gives us more options versus if we pit in after them, that I feel like it kind of puts us on the defense when we're getting up to speed and they're already exiting two with a full head of steam on us. It kind of puts us in a vulnerable spot. So I told them we need to make sure that we pit early. That way, when they get on the track, we can pull draft off of them and we can go essentially where we wanted to go. Everett moved up in front of me. I pushed him for a little bit, and then I thought what was best for us was to take top, go on the offense, and then just trust Vince with the rest of the race as far as pushing me. And thankfully, it worked out. We were able to race it with Everett there at the end. I actually thought, I think it was Doug he was pushing. I thought
Yeah.
Doug for a second was on the lead lap, and I was like, did I get him? And then Vince was like, well, I got P2. How'd I get that? So uh, it was, but even if he wasn't, like, just the competitive nature in me, even if Doug, with being a lap down, I still wanted to beat him to the line, just the competitor in me. If he would have beat me to the line, I would have won the race and still been upset. So I'm glad we were able to get our nose out there in front of the whole pack and get the win.
Yeah, definitely. I know we talked to Everett, and he had mentioned obviously they picked him up in the draft, and that helped him to have a friend in there. Obviously, definitely helps to have some teammates around you. Obviously, you guys have been executing that pretty well yourselves this season. So, but they never really had a chance to get that flip flop to put the 24 in front. But I noticed, so we talked about it a little bit with Vince too. We noticed that like the TW Motorsports guys were coming down pit road first during the first two green flag cycles of the race, and it sounded like your guys' intention of coming early was just more of knowing that you didn't want to have a large gap to when they came down pit road, and like you mentioned, you made sure you tried to pit when they had, no more than 2 or 3 laps left to go. Was that something that you kind of picked up from earlier on in the race, or is it just something that you were kind of planning on anyway?
We were planning on it from the word go before the caution came out. It was the plan for us at bare minimum was going to be 15, 30, 45, and then 60. But I told him on that last pit stop, if, all I was really concerned about is pitting after them and then just latching on to the pack and just chilling. I wasn't really worried about leading a whole bunch of laps and then having to, cause us to come down for a fourth stop, I believe it would have been. I was trying to get it to where we could have been on a 3-stop strategy. And then potentially, if we saved enough, pit on 61 on that last pit stop before the caution came out. Because I wanted us, if we had to run with just two of us with a roughly 30-second lead, I felt comfortable doing it over 14 laps. But I just didn't want to handicap us by potentially running 2 to 3 laps more than them early in the race and then losing the pack. And then, with a relatively small field, that could be your whole race. If you lose the pack, you might not get a caution. So there's a few things, but that we were thinking about. But the biggest play was definitely to try to stay with the leaders, let them burn the fuel, and then execute our strategy a little bit later in the race. I don't really think up until that caution had came out. We really didn't have intention of leading the race at all. But once the caution came out and it kind of threw the fuel race out the window, then it was, we were able to kind of execute more of our style of racing, I guess, being a little bit more aggressive and just trying to control the front. Not being, I like being on offense more than defense, and that kind of goes back to why I wanted us to pit early, because it gives us a lot more options, and I don't feel like we're going on defense so much.
Yeah, definitely seemed like that helped quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, you guys had pretty good execution. Were there pretty much all night long. So another hard-fought victory. Obviously, you're first on Friday nights, but obviously Vince has quite a few already, and hopefully this should also help you in the points battle to continue to extend that lead. So yeah, definitely getting closer to those playoffs. Is there, obviously looking pretty good in the points for now. Obviously, still quite a few races to go, but what point of the season does your mindset shift towards, trying to win that championship at the end of the year? Or does it not change at all and it's just something where every week is just another race? And, how's that approach for your mindset?
Um, Really, ever since I got into iRacing, my intention has always been you run every race as if it's a championship race, and you get up front, lead a lot of laps, unless it makes sense to save for fuel reasons. I like to get up and race hard, and I feel like 70 meaningful laps or 75 in area 51 and running hard all 75 laps to me is more beneficial than only running hard for the last 10 or 15. So my mindset doesn't change. What you see is what you're going to get in the playoffs, and hopefully it's enough to put me there at the end. And if not me, I want to be in a position to where I can push Vince to a championship win. Either way, we'll be happy over at this camp, and we'll just have to see what happens. But the biggest thing is just not making mistakes, because green flag pit stops in Area 51 will make or break a championship run.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I always say that we talk about it probably way too much, but yeah, just something that can be so important, and obviously was part of your guys' winning strategy for tonight. And another 1-2 finish. Obviously, you guys have had a couple 1-2, 1-2-3 finishes in both Fridays and Sundays this season. So I want to say congrats to you, and we'll roll that red carpet out for any thanks or shout outs for that race win here tonight for the first on Fridays in 2026.
Thank you, Boomer. Gotta thank you. Gotta thank Charles and Bud and everyone at Area 51. I'm gonna back up though. Green White Checker TV. Gotta give them a big shout out for all these seasons broadcasting Area 51. It's been really awesome to just watch these, because this was, I think, essentially the first league I ever ran in. So I always like coming back home every once in a while. Gotta thank Nightmare Esports. It's a little bit different on Friday nights with just Vince. I feel like it's more of a challenge. And it gets me and him closer as a duo. So always a big shout out to him. And he was one of my original 2 teammates in iRacing, and me and him have forged at this point, I believe it's a 5-year-long friendship. So off the track, he is an absolutely great dude, and I couldn't have my success without Vince. And then I heard it's Gabe's birthday, so
Yeah.
gotta give a big shout out to Gabe. If you're in chat, Gabe, happy birthday. Have you a Guinness? I'm sure that's exactly what you're doing right now. So have another one for me. Thinking about you. Hope life has been well, and hope to see you on the track soon. And I guess we will see you guys come Sunday night.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. We'll see you guys in 2 days, and congratulations once again. Obviously, still trying to keep the streak for Nightmare Esports wins for all of Sunday the season so far. So see if you guys can keep that streak alive, and we'll do it here right on Green White Checker TV. How's that sound?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that will do it for the race here tonight. And I find myself lonesome in the booth again. We had Gael jump in, and then obviously towards the end of the race, Brandon jumped in, and they both had to, obviously Gael got back in the truck and got up on the wheel there, came home to a 7th place finish, and but Brandon had to leave a little bit early, so we'll sign it off here just for me. So we got to always bring up the schedule. Obviously, we talked about Tuesdays a little bit already. We've got a great group of people over at P1 Broadcasting, so please make sure to give them some love. They are broadcasting the 20th season of IndyCar racing here at Area 51 on Tuesday nights, and they are going to be at Nashville on February 24th, assuming that's the Superspeedway and not the fairgrounds, but Nashville on February 24th. Then again on March 3rd, they'll be at Kansas. Take a couple weeks off before they go to Daytona Road Course on March 24th and Iowa March 31st, and that puts them over halfway point of their season. They got started a little bit earlier than we did here on Fridays and Sundays. And I do actually have a graphic for you to bring up the rest of our Friday schedule here, so we'll do that now. So obviously we have made it through Talladega here on the 20th. So next week is going to be our trip to Atlanta Motor Speedway, now Echo Park. And then the following week we're going to be at iRacing Superspeedway for the lone start for the 3-mile fictitious oval. Daytona, Talladega will follow that, and that will bring us to the playoffs. It'll be 4 races there: Atlanta, Daytona, Atlanta, and Talladega to round out the season on April 17th. 4 races and either 12 or 16 drivers. We'll see how the points fall. But it's going to be a good battle to the end, and good battle for those championships. And obviously, there's a lot of guys, in the mix there. I mean, TW Motorsports had some really good execution there. Robert Rockteen Wilkinson just falling just short of some solid top 5 runs, but still 5th, 6th for them. Obviously, Everett Lane up in the mix with the teammates from Bootnaki Esports as well. And then Cody and Vicente still continuing to execute at a pretty high level there for Nightmare Esports at the front of the field. So there are quite a few drivers that have a chance there here on Friday nights to get pretty far there in that playoff run. So the schedule here, you're going to see, going to look very similar when I switch over to the Sunday schedule. So when we go to the Sunday schedule here, really just the dates are going to move back 2 days, and the schedule is going to be pretty much the same. So makes it simple enough. So 2 days from now, we'll be at Talladega, Atlanta March 1st, iRacing Superspeedway March 8th, Daytona the 15th, 22nd is Talladega. Then we'll get into Atlanta, Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega for the championship here on Sundays in the Gen 6 series. So simple enough for both of those schedules being pretty similar. So hoping to see you back here on Sunday night this week in 2 days' time. Same place here on Green White Checker TV, same league, and plenty of new action scheduled for you in the Gen 6 cars. We've seen some really good races so far. I mean, we have seen a lot of opportunities where the Gen 6 car lends to aggressive driving more than conservative driving, and people have been taking advantage of that, and it's been quite a bit of fun to watch. And like we mentioned, Nightmare Esports has swept the first 5 races of the season, so they are on a tear so far and trying to do what they can to win a few more. And we'll see what they can do to execute that, or is somebody going to knock them off their throne for the first time on Sundays this year? You'll have to wait and find out, and tune in to Green White Checker TV. So for myself, Boomer Logan, for my colleagues that did join us here for a little bit, Mr. Guy L. Brooks from Inside the Car, solid P7, shout out to you, buddy. And Mr. Brandon Briggs as well. Unfortunately, not the night that he wanted to have, but I'm thankful that we at least got to talk to him in the booth for a little bit. So always good to have Brandon up here, and appreciate him jumping in the car with a little bit of a shorter field tonight. So trying to get those numbers up, and was a lot of fun to watch. So hopefully you guys had fun watching it as well. If you're watching it back as a driver, we appreciate you guys and everything you do here to be a part of this league. Obviously appreciate Charles Johnson and all the people that do all the admin stuff behind the scenes. There's a lot that goes on, and definitely a lot of hard work that goes into making all this happen. So appreciate them, and appreciate all of our listeners and viewers. Obviously got some former drivers and current drivers in the chat tonight, so appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, obviously shout out to Gabe Butler. Obviously you said I'd have a Guinness for you, but didn't even know it was your birthday at the time, so who knows, maybe I'll have to have 2 now for you or something, I guess. But anyway, yeah, that'll pretty much do it for us here. Again, at Green White Checker TV, appreciate all you guys watching tonight's coverage of Area 51, and we will see you in the next one, and we'll wish you a happy week, and take care, everybody.